Welcome to the Q.A.C. Team Podcast, your quality assurance consulting team. Quality is our highest priority for your business with one goal, one direction, success. And now here's your host, Charles Luttrell. Good morning, listeners. I'm here with Nick. Nick, good morning.
Good morning, Chuck. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Very well. Nice
Good.
and recharged after that vacation we talked about.
That's awesome. So tell our audience who you are and what you do.
My name is Nick Liberatore. I am the co-owner and one of the founders of Lib's Grill and Lib's Catering.
Nice. So, go ahead.
We have three locations. I guess I should have kind of mentioned that in Fulton, Maryland, in Bel Air, and in Perry Hall. And we just opened a catering commissary in Owings Mills.
Oh, that's great. I was going to ask you. I know you have three locations, and are they the same as the Liberatore's restaurants? Those two locations?
It's the same family, however, different cuisines. Liberatore's Restaurant and Catering is focused on an Italian cuisine. We're a more steak, seafood, raw bar, upscale casual.
Gotcha. That was my next question was going to be, I know there's got to be a difference, right? Because you have the Lib's Grill and then the Liberatore's restaurants, right? So that's kind of a different vibe.
Exactly. Yeah, they were been in business since 1988 was the first Eldersburg Liberatore's. So they've been around the block before. We're actually going to celebrate our 10 years in Lib's Grill in Perry Hall in December.
Oh, 10 years in Perry Hall?
Yeah, I know. Wow. Wild, right?
That is crazy. Wow, I didn't think it's been that long.
I know, it doesn't. Some days it feels like that, and some days it feels like it flew by.
Look at this, flies right by, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Man. So why did you decide to be a business owner?
I was raised in it. At the age of 13, I was kind of, in the kitchen, dishwashing, bussing tables, on the line. Had some managerial experience at that point. I just love the interaction. I love the fast pace. I love the ability to multitask. And I like the creative juices that you get to implement being an owner and being able to pivot.
Yeah, so this is a whole family thing for you.
It is.
Yeah, that was my next question would be, why'd you choose your industry? But, I think you've answered that with, you started from the childhood days, huh?
Oh, yeah. 13. It's been a while
13?
now. 20 years in the industry. Yep.
Wow. That's great. That's great. So what are some of the challenges that you guys face? I know you've got three locations now, and it's a spinoff of Liberatore's. Mm-hmm. So give us some history and some insight on some of the challenges that you face with these three locations.
Gosh, I don't know if this podcast is long enough. There are challenges as any business, but the funny thing about business in general is the challenges are kind of similar amongst industries, and they've been around, and so is the solutions for centuries. It really just comes down to the discipline aspect and the measurable. I think we've kind of evolved through the decade of me personally working alongside my partners at Lib's Grill, was just kind of establishing measurables, whether it's from guest relationships to the financials, to repair and maintenances, to training and development. We now have HR. I mean, I used to be, all hands on deck. I wore so many hats and I did them so mediocrely. And there were select things that fueled me. And, through time, especially after COVID, we kind of realized that putting people in places that they're passionate about led to a much more successful program as a whole than me as the owner feeling obligated to be the person that had to come up with the answers. So, I think now I have somebody that's called a chief happiness officer. She's kind of our HR person. She rocks it. Her name is Jen Walker. And, something like that, I would never have fathomed 10 years ago that I'd have a chief happiness officer in our company, but it's really imperative. It's something that she was passionate about as she was raising her family. And I think just being able to listen and gather feedback as it can be really challenging to hear some things, but it only makes you better. And I think that's kind of been the evolution, is how do you process feedback and how do you use the data to be better and not kind of make excuses?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's great. So she's a CHO.
CHO.
Man. And she's in charge of all three locations?
Yep. So we're kind of expanding, horizontally, where we have head of HR and training. We have someone that leads marketing, operations, culinary, and then there's the financial aspect too.
Oh, wow. That sounds like it's a pretty big job.
Yeah. Very.
And you said you were doing this before you hired her. This was like kind of your, because you
No,
were
this
wearing
was
all these
something
different
she
hats.
was a server that moved up into management, and her lifestyle changes with growing family. Um, it kind of led to a position where she really excelled in the coachability and the development phase
Hmm.
of the industry. And while people are saying you can't find good help, I just hate hearing that. It really is a self reflection of a business. If you have trouble finding somebody that wants to work for you, it's not somebody else's issue. And I think putting somebody at the helm of that, like Jen is, it just really, it's the HR of the HR of old. It's a human resource for development, not HR like now where it's some businesses use it just to protect their butt because somebody did something inappropriate. It's really
Right.
for developing people, putting them in roles that they're going to be successful, and finding the next position that somebody's going to really excel in that you didn't even know you needed.
Hmm. Absolutely. I think that's great. A lot of you touch on that. A lot of businesses. I hear it a lot when a lot of my interviews, where people will say, it's hard to find good people. We struggle finding good help, and you nailed it. I think that it's a reflection of that business. You know, of finding good people and mentoring them to be good
Right.
people. Right. I
Exactly.
mean,
Exactly.
finding good people. Yeah, I get it's a challenge. Right.
Sure.
But then when you have people, if we coach and develop what we have, I think that's where it helps that company really excel when you got people and just train them.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, a lot of people are coachable, and I think that goes with a lot of people kind of miss that point, right? That
Yeah. All the time.
people are coachable. You just got to work with them, and
It's a
that's
lot
one of the
easier to
things that
say that it's the pool of people, not you. I mean, that's
yeah,
just a
yeah, yeah,
deflection of responsibility.
yeah, right. And that's what we find, especially in my industry, the coaching and developing part of it is just that's what it's about, making these companies run. Man. So let's talk about your menus a little bit. Are
Mhm.
they the same at all three locations, or do you have like kind of a different?
They are. They are the same. The pricing structure based off of the market may be slightly different, but in general, it's within $1 of a menu item. But yeah, they have the same happy hours. We try and run similar promotions so that we can really kind of focus in on doing those at a high level. But there are some nuances with what raw bar items they bring in is up to the store level. Particular fundraisers can be community focused, but in general, yeah, we have a uniform menu that needs to be consistent amongst the three. And then
uh
catering does its own thing in that kind of wedding world.
Yeah, that was my next question. Was going to be, you said the catering was kind of new to you guys, right? Just getting started with catering.
Yeah, so well, we've been doing it out of our smallest location in Perry Hall for about 4 or 5 years,
Okay.
but it just the bandwidth just wasn't there, and we were sacrificing the internal operations and the guest experience. So we knew that there was an opportunity to kind of tackle this untapped market really for us, and then also it allowed us to focus in on the four walls versus kind of pushing events out the back door.
Right, right. And you guys actually, so you're not just it's on premise as well. So you guys set up, you do everything no matter where the
We do
location
have so the actual commissary is we don't hold any events there. We do tastings. There's two tasting rooms for weddings, so our guests can come in and do a tasting of
is.
their potential event. But we really just do all off premise from there. But we do from start to finish, full service, staffing, equipment, silverwares, platewares, the food, everything, nuts to bolts.
Gotcha. But there's no on-site catering at your location. You don't have a room for hold like a private events or anything.
Each not at that location, but each Libs Grill location, and actually Liberatories for that matter, also have private event spaces that can be used for on-premise events.
Oh, great. That's awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, I'm looking at your website and your menu now. I'm looking at some of the. So, what do you think? I know I ask a lot of people this, and they don't know how to answer. But what do you think your star item is on your menu?
There's kind of like some hidden gems, and for me, I kind of like to take those those leaders and the most popular items and at times actually remove them temporarily
Uh,
because I don't want people to think of us for one particular item. So our pork chop is fantastic, been on the menu for a long time, but I don't want people to think that if you only want a pork chop, you go to Lib's Grill because then if you're not in the mood for a pork chop, you're never going to think of us. So I
Right.
want it to be an experience that you have, and that's why the menu has sandwiches, flatbreads, entrees, vegetarian options, vegan options, snacks. So you can go from light fare to full dining experiences. So it's hard to pinpoint one particular item because they evolve, and every 4 months we change the menu up with about 10 different changes on the food
Uh-huh.
end. But I would the pork chop is awesome. We partner with Rosetta Farms, so the sirloin and the ribeye are dynamite.
Yeah.
Um, our pastas are also house made, so the lobster mac and cheese, the bucatini pasta with the crab or blanc. Uh, that's all house made pastas with semolina flour. And then some of the sandwiches. I love our grilled chicken sandwich. We partner with a local bakery for stuff like with the bread, the multi-seed bread that comes with that. Um, Candy bacon, honey mustard, grilled chicken on that fresh loaf is awesome.
Hmm. That's awesome. Yeah, I made a visit. I think I told you I visited your location a couple Sundays ago, and I got your lobster mac and cheese,
Uh-huh.
and that was good.
I know, I love that. That's been a menu item for a while.
Yeah, yeah. The server had mentioned that it was your own homemade pasta, and I was a little
Yeah.
kind of taken back a little bit, like, oh man, homemade pasta. I don't
Hmm.
know, because everyone makes it different.
Yeah.
But man, when that came out, it was good.
Good. I'm glad.
It was good. It was good. Hey, listeners, Q.A.C. team here. We interrupt this podcast to offer business owners an opportunity to take advantage of our free business analysis. We will visit your location to assess food quality, timing, customer service, and cleanliness. From the web, visit QACteam.com and click on Free Analysis and Consultation at the top of the page. While you are there, to sponsor a podcast or be featured, click on Feature Me. For mobile users, select from the menu options. We look forward to helping your business grow. So, what are some of the challenges um, that you face after the pandemic? Because I know the pandemic kind of hit everybody pretty hard in the restaurant industry. How'd you guys deal with the pandemic?
You know what? It's still a rippling effect that exists now for us. The uncertainty was the biggest thing. I mean, I remember I pulled from all the locations. We sat down, all my management team members, when we had to close, and I sat there and I said, "Hey guys, we could be closed for a day, 2 days, or even as long as a month." Little did I know, a year go by. Um, but what do we want to do? And I wanted to make sure we weren't tiptoeing around it. I wanted to make sure, are we either all in? Are we closing temporarily and just going to reconvene at the end of this and just lock down? Or are we going to be trying to be a hybrid? So we went, full steam ahead as a curbside company, changed our website, did a lot of online ordering, did packages and tastings to go with QR codes that had virtual tasting pairings. So you have videos that we had attached to them that were wildly popular.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
family style meals that we're still doing to this day on holidays that was successful. It was really exciting. And now the challenge that kind of came of that is the ripple effect of your support team. So for
Yeah,
us, we're as good as the supplies that we're given and our relationships with those suppliers. And
yeah.
as they found struggles, so if they weren't able to pivot and rebound quickly enough, we found that effect coming into the product that would come up into our kitchens, from the service end of things to cutting of corners. So we've really come out of this with a really good partnership with our suppliers, and we
Hmm.
don't look at them as people that work for us. They're collaborators of us. I mean, they're invited to our holiday parties because we wouldn't be able to do it without a Rosetta Farms and their ability to pivot alongside, and all these other vendors that kind of not only weathered it, but they thrived in that situation. So I think it goes deeper than just like how did we do it, but how did the people we say are our partners in our supply chain, how did they pivot, and were they able to? And some of them are no longer our partners because of that.
Yeah. That's interesting that you said that. That's the first time I've heard anybody say that. How closely you guys worked with your partners and vendors like that.
Hmm.
That says a lot about your character, what you guys do.
I appreciate it.
Because
Yeah.
yeah, that was a big challenge because if you weren't able to have outdoor seating, or some way to deliver, you were pretty much dead in the water
Yeah.
during that time.
Hmm.
I've watched when I sat downtown Bel Air during the pandemic, there was nothing around, and then I got down towards Box Hill Pizza, and
Hmm.
there were like massive lines outside
Yeah.
with people just standing there waiting for food. I was like, this is crazy. This is the
Yeah.
times we're living in right now.
Uh-huh.
It was definitely crazy. So how did you guys handle deliveries? Did you have delivery did you use
We,
like DoorDash and Uber Eats and all that as
yes, yeah,
well?
we were on all the third-party channels for that. We partnered with a point of sale that also did online orders. We're no longer with that group, but we still offer online ordering ourselves. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, we definitely hopped on that bandwagon, and
Mhm.
and then that's equally one that we've kind of filtered and kind of selected who we wanted to be a part of, not just be a part of all of them, because a Door Dasher goes to your door, they throw it on the stoop. They don't really blame DoorDash. They just say, Libs Grill, my food was all over the place, didn't come to temperature, things like that. So really knowing who you're partnering with that as well, and not just saying yes, yes, yes for sales, but for quality control too.
Yeah, that's important right there. And I was going to talk about that because that's part of what my company does, is quality control and quality assurance. You know, it's not DoorDash's fault. Your reviews and everything about your company reflects on how that person put that food on the porch or handed it to that person. And it's kind of sad that you're the one who takes the hit for that, not the guy that delivered it for DoorDash or Uber Eats. Isn't that
Yeah, right.
crazy? Yeah.
It is
So it's
awful.
important. Yeah. So you guys don't use them anymore. You have your own delivery
We know, so we
service.
do we partner with DoorDash, looking to revisit Uber Eats. We had some challenges with them during the
Mhm.
pandemic that we're kind of reintroducing them. We use Toast for online ordering pickup. Um, so we are, I guess, for delivery would be going to be Uber Eats, and we are currently with DoorDash.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, I think DoorDash has kind of taken off in that department a little bit. They've gotten a little better, I think. I've done some deliveries myself. Had some things delivered, and it seems okay. It's like
Yeah,
some of the people are starting to care about how they deliver. But I'm also hearing horror stories,
I know.
of people that say they never got their food. So they're calling the restaurant, and they say, "Look, you got to call DoorDash. It's not their fault. And it's with the delivery." So how does that work? I mean, is that something that you have to control, or is that part of like if somebody calls your restaurant complaining about the delivery, is that your department, or do you
Yeah,
force them to go
so,
back to
yeah.
DoorDash?
So the guest has the right to, ask for a refund. It can be challenged at that point in time. And majority of the time, we're fighting with DoorDash, saying that the delivery driver either decided not to make a pit stop, or that they personally didn't grab an item that they should have grabbed. But in general, it falls at the expense of the restaurant 90% of the time.
Yeah.
So saying they never got their delivery, I've hopped in a car and I've driven myself, because I wouldn't want as a guest to say it was the DoorDash driver, but in the end, I partner with DoorDash, not that guest. So it's kind of my accountability to make it right.
Man, Nick, I got to say, man, you guys, you're doing it right, man.
So I
I
appreciate
talk to a lot of people, and taking ownership of a problem like that's huge, man. You know,
it. Who else is going to fix it, right?
yeah, I commend you for doing it right. I mean, I'm just blown away that you have the CHO. That's
I know.
awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's right at the line of what I do, and keeping your employees happy to keep your customers happy, man. That goes a long way.
Oh my gosh, it pays dividends. I mean,
Yeah,
and it's just so much more purpose out of life when you're working alongside people that really want to be there and are doing something that they're really passionate about. They're going to be really good at it.
yeah, absolutely. Yep. Man, I appreciate you coming on and talking to me, give me this little bit of time that we had here. Um,
Yeah, no problem, Chuck. Thanks for having me.
yeah. Is it possible you'd like to offer a discount to any of our listeners?
Yeah, why don't we do if you mentioned this podcast or whatever code you're interested in, Chuck, we'll do a 10% discount on anyone that dines with us the month of June.
Month of June. Appreciate it. That's all three locations or
Yes, all three
specific.
locations. Yeah, the Libs
Awesome.
Grill locations. Yep.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Well, Nick, look, man, I appreciate you coming on, spending a little bit of time with me, talking about your business model, how you do things. I think anybody listening to this, is going to find that you care about your locations, and dining in your place is going to be good.
It
You
should
know.
be. You let me know otherwise. And I'm an
Yes.
open book too. I mean, I'm learning every day from other operators and other people. So I definitely don't
Right.
have all the answers, but I know the answers are out there. So if anyone wants to contact me, at nicklibertori@libsgrow.com, I'm an open book, and I love chatting business, and I love, you know, it's if we create cultures inside of our restaurants that then create better cultures in our communities, collectively we're going to be living in a better world. So
Right.
there's no secret sauce there.
Absolutely. Yeah. My next question was going to be, how do we contact you guys? I know you're on Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah, Facebook's great,
So,
Instagram's great. If you would like to contact me directly, that email is my personal email as well. So
awesome.
either one.
That's great. And like I said, I did my visit myself. I'll send you over all the details of my visit for you that I did, and let you see what happened.
Yeah, I appreciate that very much. Well, I'm looking forward to,
Absolutely.
to catching up on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Nick, enjoy the rest of your day, man. I appreciate you coming on and hanging out with me for a couple minutes here, and it's been a pleasure. And I
Thanks,
appreciate
Chuck.
you.
Yeah,
And we'll chat
pleasure
soon.
mine. Sounds good. Thank
Thanks,
you very
man.
much.
Hey, enjoy your day, man. Have a great weekend.
Cheers.
Thanks, sir.
See ya.
You've been listening to the Q.A.C. Team Podcast with your host, Charles Luttrell. Connect with us on the web at qacteam.com, Facebook and Instagram at qac.team. Thanks for listening.